Hi, guys. We're starting. We are rocking and rolling. In just a few minutes, you are going to meet Timothy Schultz, and we're going to talk about Dreamafesting. Timothy Schultz is a lottery winner, as you all probably know, who won the lottery based on a dream. So stay with me, and in just a few minutes, we're going to get started. Welcome to the Kelly Sullivan Walden Show, where we explore nighttime dreams, daytime desires, and the best ways to transform the tragic into magic. Because let's face it, we all dream, we all have our blessings, and we all have our challenges, myself included. And I don't want any of us to take any of those things lying down, if you know what I mean. I just wrote a book entitled "A Crisis is a Terrible Thing to Waste." I'm excited to explore the topic with you, whether it relates to your waking or sleeping dreams, because we're dreaming all the time, people. So let's make it the best dream possible. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Welcome to our Dreamafesting Free On-Line Event. And in a few minutes, you'll be meeting Timothy Schultz, who is an amazing man, amazing young man. He's still very young. And he was living in his parents' basement. He was really struggling, dropped out of school, and he kept dreaming about winning the lottery. And then one day, he dreamt about the lottery and he had that lucky feeling like today's the day. And he, sure enough, bought a lottery ticket and won $20 million. So we're going to talk to him. I feel like the reason I've invited him to be a part of this event is because he's kind of like a good luck charm. And he's got this great show on YouTube. You got to look for it. It's Lottery, Dreams, and Fortune. And that's on YouTube. So he'll be joining us in a moment. And in the meantime, this is what you'll be getting from tonight, wherever in the world you are listening or watching. So we're going to talk to Timothy about what he does to incubate dreams in order to set himself up for success. And it clearly works. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about remembering dreams, because it's one thing to have a great lottery winning dream, but if you don't remember it, then, it's kind of like, oh well. And then I'm also going to give you a dream incubation meditation to listen to before you go to sleep, to set yourself up for success, to set yourself up to give yourself the suggestion that you're going to remember your dreams, and then also that you'll dream about what's most important to you. Our dreams are always helping us with all the very many issues of our lives. Any imbalance, that's kind of what our dreams go after first and foremost, which is great. We don't need to tell our dreams what to do. However, what we get excited about, what we're focused upon, and what we envision is something that feels exciting to us, it will tend to get the attention of our subconscious mind, and that will be what we will start to receive specific information about, because one just mind doesn't, it's like being a farmer, the soil doesn't care if you plant apple seeds, tomato seeds, dandelion seeds, whatever the seeds are, it doesn't discriminate. So I'll give you this little incubation before you go to sleep so that you can use that. You can refer back to this recording and use this over and over to help you. Also, I'll be giving everybody an opportunity to sign up for Dreamafesting Live, which starts in January, and to get a big, juicy discount. So in the meantime, just to whet your appetite, and if you have questions, feel free to chat them in. In the meantime, I'm going to just give you a little introduction to what I call the Dreamafester Hall of Fame. And these are some famous Dreamafesters that you may know of. And by Dreamafester, I mean people who have manifested extraordinary things based on their dream. So, the US founding fathers. So, if you live in the US or if you're somewhere else, if this is kind of an amazing thing. Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, they attributed the philosophy contained within the Declaration of Independence to their dream. Some of you may have heard of Einstein. His theory of relativity came to him, or actually, it wasn't exactly that. It was more like the access to all the information, including the what led him to identify the theory of relativity. That came to him in a dream. And I can talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Colonel Harold Dixon. He was somebody who made history's biggest oil discovery, which later became the Kuwait Oil Company, and all of that was based on guidance from his dream. Elias Howe, he was inspired to create this the sewing needle. So we wouldn't be wearing clothes without this great invention, because there were so many inventors all over the world that they were in a race to come up with the sewing needle. It happened to be in the zeitgeist, and based on a dream, he came up with it. I could tell you the dream. Maybe I'll tell you. It was kind of scary. So this is a reason to not discount scary dreams, because every dream comes bearing great wisdom and information for all of us. So in Elias Howe's dream, he asked the question before he went to sleep, how am I going to create this sewing needle? Everybody, by the way, they were creating the sewing needle with a little eye going through the top of the needle, and it wasn't working. So in his dream, he was surrounded by cannibals. He was in like a pot of boiling water, and he could see that they all had these like these poles, and they were all connected with one another. And the thread that connected them was going through the center of the sewing needle. He woke up from that very scary dream, and voila, he invented the sewing needle. And we have clothes to thank him for that. And he kicked off the whole industrial revolution. So that was quite exciting. And Dr. Frederick Banting, he won the Nobel Prize based on a dream he had about ligating the pancreas of a diabetic dog. Now, this sounds horrible, but he discovered, as a result of that dream, that diabetes is due to an imbalance of sugar and insulin. So, my nephew, Frankie, has diabetes. And people before, if you had diabetes, you would just die or you'd lose all your limbs. But he discovered that insulin was what was missing. And now so many people are alive and thriving today because of Dr. Frederick Banting's wonderful dreamifesting. And let's see, Mary Shelley had a dream about Frankenstein. So Mary Shelley dreamed. She was in with Lord Byron. They had a bet who could come up with the scariest story, and they said they would discuss it the following morning. And Mary Shelley had this dream about Frankenstein, and she won the bet. It ended up becoming this great Gothic story and a movie, and the rest is history. And there's so many more, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm just going to go over and check and see if Timothy is, yes. Let's see, I sent it to him, so bear with me 1 second while I give him the link. I thought he had it, so hang on. Yes, I do. All right, so he's coming. He'll be with us in just a moment. We are live, by the way, so, some of these things are bound to happen. But while we're waiting for Timothy, let me just invite you to contemplate if you could dreamifest anything. In other words, manifest by having your dreams do the heavy lifting. What is it that you want? What is it that you desire? And if you want to, you can chat if you would like, and then I can see it. Um, So it's one way of making it more real. So what is it that you desire if you could have anything? If I was a genie, if Timothy Schultz was a genie and anything you desired was possible, what is it that you are wanting to create in your life? So I know you already know what this is, whether you chat about it, put it in the comments or not. But I want you to just imagine that thing. I know you've probably got a whole list, a mile long of things, but see if you can consolidate it into one thing or just think about what you most want. It might be money, might be a honey, it might be wealth, it might be health, it might be the creativity to create the life of your dreams. So, what is it that you most desire to have in your life? In other words, what seems missing? Like you're happy. Let's see. Sloan says, I would manifest marrying the love of my life. Okay, perfect. Sloan, I'm going to focus on you, you brave person, for being the first person in the comments. So I want you to imagine that, bam, you're in the future and you have married the man of your dreams, the love of your life, not the man of your dreams, the love of your life, man or woman of your dreams or whatever they may be. So you are already married. Let's just go there. You're already married to the love of your life. You're solidly connected to this wonderful partnership, and it is providing you everything you desire. So I want you to check in, and I want everybody to just imagine that you're in the place where you have what you're wanting. It's not in the future anymore. It's right here and right now. Just notice what changes. Notice what tweaks. Notice what, do you sit up a little straighter? Do you feel an extra zhuzh? Do you feel like, what do you notice that's different, first of all, when you imagine being in the present moment of this thing that you desire? Great. So I know for me, because I'm always dreamifesting something, when I imagine that I'm in the presence of what it is I'm wanting, I actually feel really peaceful. I feel relieved. I feel relaxed. I feel calm. So if you have a journal nearby, I'm going to be asking you some questions to contemplate. So I want you to imagine how peaceful, free, relaxed, confident, abundant, excited, happy, powerful you feel. But see if you can identify a single word that defines this for you. And now just marinate in that as we continue our conversation with Mr. Timothy Schultz. There he is. Welcome, Timothy.
Yes, Kelly, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on here. Super
I'm so
excited.
to have you on. Thank you so much. One of the things I was talking behind your back about was how much I just adore the fact that you're this poster child for dreamifesting. You had a dream that led you to great wealth, and that has changed your life. And you, like some people, I think, have this unconscious sabotage where they think if they have what they really want, they're going to Dana Walden just said, "I would manifest someone like you." That's really sweet. Um, but they're afraid that they're subconsciously afraid that if they have the thing that they really want, it's gonna rock their status quo, and something bad might happen. It might not be good because it's foreign to the subconscious mind. But you're sort of proof. You're like the poster child that you can have your desire, and ultimately, you might have to go through a few iterations, but you ultimately end up an amazing version of yourself. So, Timothy, tell us a little bit about you and like what you went through, like who you were before. Let's just take it to the back. Let's go all the way to let's go to the beginning, shall we? Who were you a little bit before you won the lottery, and then bring us up to now? So take it away, Timothy.
Sure. Yeah, well, who was I? I mean, on the surface, I was a gas station clerk. I was working 40 to 60 hours a week at a gas station as an assistant manager. And as you mentioned, I had this dream about winning before it happened, about 3 months before it happened. And I had had other dreams prior to that dream that were similar in nature, that were very, very real. So it convinced me that it was going to happen. I just felt that it was going to happen because the nature of the dream was so real. And I didn't believe that prior to this dream, but because I had this dream, I did. So I was working at the gas station and I was telling people I was going to win, and other people were telling me I was going to win. I was just feeling very lucky, even especially that particular day. And when I purchased the ticket, I remember I was waving it around, telling coworkers and friends that I was going to win, and had some other synchronicities happen. But so it did win. And when it did win and I saw it win, it was extremely shocking still, even though I believed it was going to win. That's a little bit different than actually seeing it line up. At least for me, it was a little bit different. It was just, I felt like I was in a movie or something. It really felt surreal, like a dream. And it really turned my life on its head. It really changed so many things. And after that, fast forward, because you asked about from then till now. So I guess to keep it
Yeah.
brief, I went back to college after a bit of time and studied broadcast news and film and journalism, and worked on a few different productions before starting this podcast and YouTube channel now, where I'm meeting other people like yourself, Kelly, some people that are experts in certain fields such as dreams, but also lottery winners, other lottery winners, and people who have won various prizes. And many of these people that I meet and interview have had similar experiences, which I find especially intriguing and fascinating when other people have dreamt about it before it's happened, or they believe in manifestation, or for one reason or another, they had something happen where they attribute it to something divine or spiritual. But not everyone I interview that's the case. But for me, I'm really into that stuff and I love it. Out lottery aside, just in life in general. And so I was like that prior to winning the lottery as well. And I think it's become much more so after the lottery. And winning the lottery was one of the um it just it affirmed, it just cemented everything that I already believed. It's like I felt like I was living in the Matrix or something. It's like, this is really crazy. But I don't know. Yeah.
So I have so many things I want to ask you about. This is kind of a strange thing that's popping into my mind. Because one of the people that asked a question earlier is about wanting the love of her life, and or the love of his life. I'm not sure. Anyway, the I was Sloan said I would want to marry the love of my life. So to that, um, I was when I was single years ago, I was driving down the road and I was listening to a radio station, and the host was interviewing Kenny Loggins, the musician. And he and his then wife came out with a book called The Unimaginable Life, and they were talking about their incredible relationship. And the host said, "Well, I'm happy for you, good for you, but kind of screw you, because you're lucky and I'm not. And me and a whole bunch of other people wish we could have the love of our life, wish we could win the lottery in love, so to speak." Do you have any tips for us? And so I'm going to ask you for some tips, Timothy. But in the meantime, back to this little story. Ke- Kenny Loggins said, if I had any tips, I don't know that I have any tips, because really it's by the grace of God that you meet the love of your life, that you win the lottery in love. He said, but if I think about it, there might be some things you can do that are under your control, to line yourself up with grace. And you never know where grace is going to take you or where it's meant to take you, but you can kind of line yourself up with it or not. And you said, for example, in matters of love, you can practice loving the one you're with. You can practice being honest. You can practice sharing your heart and and instead of just kind of holding your heart and waiting until the perfect person shows up at the perfect time and never practicing opening your heart. He said, start now. And I thought, "Oh my god, that was great advice." And that advice with a bunch of other things plus a dream led me to the love of my life. I fell in love and won the lottery in the area of love. But let me ask you that. I imagine there's some grace involved here, that there isn't a perfect system. I know there's books written about how to win the lottery. There's a lot of theories and systems, but what do you say if people say, "Hey, good for you, but hey, I'd like to do that as well." What are some of your tips? And I imagine one of those tips includes paying attention to dreams, but I wanna leave it to you. What are your tips for
For the
lining yourself
lottery
up with
or
grace,
just
lining yourself up
grace
with the lottery in life? Yeah.
with the lottery in life? Um, well, a few things that some of you, a lot of people watching this might already do some of these, but I think one thing is not giving up on yourself. And I'm not talking about necessarily the lottery, but just in general in life, achieving happiness, because that's really what most people are really seeking underneath it all is happiness. And happiness ultimately, in my opinion, comes from within. And so it's not something external that's going to come from something else. It comes from within. So how do you feel that and achieve that and get that? And one way to do that is to put yourself in a position to receive that. So if you're, I mean, this is common sense, but if you're playing the lottery, you have to actually play the lottery. You have to take an action step. But if you're wanting to meet somebody, then I think taking action steps is important. And I think lining yourself up at the right place in life, it's for me personally, I try to visualize, and I've done this before I even knew that I was doing this intentionally, visualize what I want to be and how that feels, and then know that I am that and I am whole. So if I'm looking for love, a love life or something, instead of dwelling on the lack and the feeling of not having that, it's the feeling of I'm perfectly fine. I am happy and I love just embrace and open myself up. But I'm great where I'm at and I welcome myself and I'm taking action steps to put myself in that position. Or if you're working to become whatever you're working towards, taking action steps after feeling that and visualizing that and taking that. That's for me that. And it may sound like common sense, but I think it a lot of people don't do that, and it's very easy, and I'm not perfect, so I've always not always done this myself, but I find it extremely helpful to do this and to think about it and to feel it and to become it, or to become the person that is whole, that loves themselves before you can be in a relationship with somebody else where you're actually have that to give. Does that make sense? Where you're actually able to receive?
Oh, yeah, it's very profound. So, I'm just gonna break down what I heard you say. There's first of all the notion of like, let's just cut to the chase. Happiness is what we're after. I mean, we might say we want to win the lottery so that we can feel secure, so that we can feel powerful, basically, so that we become, so that we can just be happy. Like, so happiness is what's underneath it all. And when we're happy, then it doesn't mean then if we're I remember a long time ago, I thought, well, if I just be happy right now, then why would I ever create anything good? So maybe I should not let myself be happy so that I'm in that state of wanting so that it'll focus my attention so I can get it. But no, 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 that just pushes it away. It's kind of like the notion of why how the rich get richer. it's like if you already have, then you'll tend to attract more of that. I mean, so many people I know that are very wealthy or that have celebrity status, people are giving them stuff, throwing new shoes, new cars, new things at them because, and it's like they don't need them. So there's something about coming into this place of fullness and then having that sense of already feeling whole, but and then also taking the action step. You've got to take the action steps. So Natalie is saying that, let me see, I have 3 vivid dreams about winning money. One was the lottery jackpot, one was one was by scratch off tickets, and the third was a large stack of money placed into her hands. All 3 dreams were very vivid and very realistic. The lottery jackpot dream was the only one that happened in a setting where I recognized. I scanned the winning lottery ticket in my current bedroom. Any advice on what these dreams could mean? So, Timothy, I'm going to hand that over to you and then I'll respond afterward.
Yeah. Well, first of all, those all sound very vivid and they sound like wonderful dreams. I mean, sound like $1,000,000 dreams right there, but in all seriousness, I think that I get this question quite often. People tell me, "What do you think about what my dream means?" And more often than not, I often say, "Well, what did it feel like when it happened?" Because at least for me and for a lot of people, dreams oftentimes seem symbolic. And so when I wake up in the morning, if I have a dream that I think is significant or is a message, spiritually speaking, from whether you believe in guides or God or the universe, that we're connected to something larger like I do, if I think there's a meaning in a dream like that, I write it down right away. But I write down what I dreamt, but then I write meaning, and then I put
Mm,
a colon, and then I put what it meant. And that is what is more important than what did I actually dream, because then it could be a few hours later or a day later or a week or a year later, and I look at it and I start reinterpreting it, because that's how everything happens. We always reinterpret, and that's how, history people, the wives tales and everything
yes,
gets
right.
changed. So it's the meaning while it happened is what is important. So I would
Ooh.
ask that person, what did they feel at the time? And
So,
so
yes, no, that is excellent.
may,
So Annie,
maybe it
and
means they
Annie's,
haven't. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, maybe it means they have an impending big win. I mean, that would be wonderful. Anything's possible, but that's what I would ask. What did it feel like at the time? The
So,
meaning.
Natalie, what did you feel like at the time? And I think that is such a great tip to not just immediately write your dream down, but to immediately following writing your dream down, your associations, what you think the dream is pointing towards while you're still in that state before your logical mind. It's kind of like you're in a race before your logical mind takes the reins and gets all, oh, E equals MC squared about it, even though E equals MC squared did come from a dream. So I guess that's not a good metaphor, but it gets too logical about it. So, what I would say to Natalie is, first of all, what wonderful dreams. And there's a feeling. I mean, I'm bringing in my own association because I had a dream once that was very similar. It was just like people just kind of pouring money into my purse. My purse was overflowing and I was like, "Oh, oh my god, I had so much." Like it was just coming in and it wasn't that I won the lottery, but I was just feeling so abundant and I can still feel that feeling. So, my question to you, Natalie, and I imagine the answer is yes, but you tell me, do you still have a remnant of that feeling tone? To me, the feeling tone is gold because it's like a memory. And so let me just get a little geeky for a second. Our subconscious mind, which is according to the American Hypnosis Association, it's 88% of our mind's power, and it's wired to keep us alive. It's not wired to make us happy per se. It's not wired to give us all the bells and whistles that we want. It's just wired to keep us alive. And it tends to associate anything new as a threat. Anything that's foreign is a threat. It's why we sometimes are so skeptical about a new person in our life or a new opportunity even if it seems good. It's like, well, let's check that. There's skepticism when it comes to anything new. Our subconscious mind, it goes by the motto, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you kind of rewire and hotwire and hack the system when you've had a dream that you won. So a dream is like it's like a happening. It is a happening on a parallel plane. So it's as if you did win. You did win. And your subconscious mind is like, "Oh, well, he won or she won and they didn't die. They didn't get struck by lightning. Nothing bad happened. Well, let's all right. Well, then we're not going to sabotage that. That can slip right through." So hanging out with that feeling tone and remembering it is one thing. The other thing that Timothy said, I'll just reiterate, if you want to actually win the lottery, you got to go buy a ticket or you got to go out and be in a place where you're going to meet people or go to the doctors and you got to take some action step. I always say every dream we have that we remember requires some form of action in our waking life. Timothy, before I read some of these comments, is there anything you want to add to that?
Um, no, no, that's great. Um,
Great.
a little just to clarify, I guess a little
Yes.
bit about my own dream prior this lottery
Yes,
dream
please.
and not all of them, but quite a few of the dreams that I've had about things before they've happened or as they're happening. Well, it's usually before, but sometimes it's as they're happening. Quite a few of them come as a direct result, for me at least, of asking in prayer or in my mind for an answer for something, just
Mhm.
asking the universe, whether you call it God, and then opening up and being completely relaxed and opening up and open to any sort of answer. And so that's what
Oh, that's
I
good.
usually do, and that's how I get into this very relaxed meditative type of state. This isn't always the case that it's always intentional like that, but that was the case with the lottery dream, and I didn't ask to win the lottery, I didn't ask about that, but for me, I was just really feeling down on my luck and financially speaking and depressed about that aspect of my life and kind of hopeless that particular day, and so I asked for guidance and hope, and with that aspect of my life, and then I had that dream, and it was a result of that, and I can say many other examples of other not about the lottery, but other dreams that came as a result of something similar. So I guess my advice that works for me anyway, that's one piece that works for me for having dreams about things like that.
Oh, that's so good. So it does feel like being, this dreamifesting and everything we're talking about here, let's face it, it's a spiritual kind of program. It's a spiritual way of being. It's even though I feel like it bridges into the material, but it doesn't start material. It starts spirit first. And like asking the question, how can I be self realized? Or how can I come into the fullness of my destiny? Or what is like, why am I here? And how can I be of service? And like coming into some kind of grace like that. And then seeing, what that might lead you to. But there's something, so when you say that you ask or you kind of do that, do you do it through writing or is it just kind of a quiet meditation? Or break that down for us, Timothy.
Usually for me, it's in prayer, which is arguably, depending on who you ask, sort of like a type of meditation. But honestly believe that I'm speaking to spirit guides and
Mhm.
so greater than just my consciousness. I believe that my prayers get answered. Whether or not it's what I want to hear or not is it's not always what I want to hear, but I usually get
Mhm.
answers. And so if I ask, oftentimes I get answers. So that's for me. But I know people that write it down, and of course interview people that are very much into intentionally trying to manifest things through affirmations and like I'm familiar with all of that, and I think those things can be powerful too, but and
Yeah.
I do those now, but I find that for dreaming, that has worked for me.
I find along those lines a really wonderful practice to do either at night or in the morning. I think the moments bookending our dreams are the most potent times to enact something like this. I mean, ideally, we'd live this way all day long, but at the very least, before we go to sleep or when we wake up in the morning, because that's when we're porous, that's when the walls are thin and the veil is open, basically. And one thing to do is to get into a state of gratitude for what I already have and to think of maybe 10 things that I'm already grateful for, and then make a list of what I'm grateful for in the future, but write it as if it's already happened. So, for example, um, I'm in the middle of writing the Dreamafesting book. So I'm saying I'm so grateful that Dreamafesting is inspiring and uplifting and empowering millions of people worldwide. So when I think about that, it lifts me up and I don't feel like I'm saying one of these days I hope that it does. I'm affirming it in the present. And so that's something that it doesn't, because there's a really tricky thing around people imagining something they want and then being in the wanting, and that actually can push things away. So we're going to talk about some more tips, but let me just let you know what's going on over here. So Natalie said the lottery jackpot win dream felt real. I feel as if it really happened. She felt relieved and super elated. It took me a while to realize that it didn't really happen. Well, I believe our dreams are a happening. So it did happen. It's kind of like, I always use this metaphor. Timothy, tell me what you think of this. I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise, or like they say, being like a shipboard romance. Like if you've ever been overseas or had some little fling while you were on vacation and it was so real while you're there, but then you come back home and you're back to the grind working and you're like, "Oh, that was ridiculous. That was silly." Well, was it? I don't know. You were being there. It was a part of you that was fully expressed, that was having a real experience. You might even have the pictures to prove that it happened. It's just there's quite a gap between that part of our reality and the one that we are ordinarily identified with. But it was a happening. Um, and then Hirachi Rubalclava says, I meditated once and the thought world peace came to mind. Months later, I dreamed a little boy appeared in my home. He wanted me to save him. I ended up saving many other kids. In the end of the dream, I got that boy his land that was rightfully his. Then weeks later, I had a half awake, half asleep experience where the last thing I heard before waking up was the sound of boots, almost like a little kid stomping quickly. As I opened my eyes, it stopped and I noticed my daughter's boots and there's more, but I can't read it here. So it sounds like you're an incredibly vivid dreamer. And who's to say, on the level of dreams, I mean, we are, Timothy, let's face it. I think you agree with me on this. We're spiritual beings. So what does it mean to be a spiritual being? To you, what does it mean when I say you're a spiritual being? What does that mean to you?
Uh, well, to me, it means that I'm more than my physical body and energy. And well, it's not obvious to everyone, but energy can neither be created nor destroyed. And I
Right.
feel that we're much more than our physical bodies. And I've met and interviewed a lot of people, well, not a lot, a few people that have
You've
had near death
interviewed quite a lot.
people that have died and come back to
Oh,
life, near death experience
anyone?
survivors. One person was um, passed away for nearly an hour and zipped into a body bag. It was really an incredible story, but
Whoa.
he came back to talk about it because I talked to him. But
Oh my
that's
God.
those stories aside, just my own experiences. Like I've had a lot of experiences with that sort of thing, and I strongly believe in the afterlife. So I I and I don't even like the word believe, because when it comes to something like that, if you know something, then it's not a belief, it's something you know, and that's how I feel about it. But I respect everyone that's an atheist or thinks that we're just here and gone. I mean,
Sure.
I respect you because you can't convince anyone of anything if they haven't experienced it for themselves, something that so that's how I feel. But I do
Right.
believe we're more than our physical bodies, and this is just a tiny little blip, and you know, that's what I believe. And I think quantum physics and quantum mechanics and the science is now pointing to a lot of that too, which is really interesting.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I mean, in my opinion, being a spiritual being means that, I think language is very limiting. So any words that we put to it, it's not the thing itself. Like they say, it's like pointing to the moon. You get caught up in the finger pointing at the moon instead of the moon itself. It's not that. It's the ineffable. It's the infinite. It's I remember when my niece was very little, we were playing that game where you say, I love you more, I love you more, I love you 10,000 times more, I love you." And I said, "I love you infinitely more." And he was like and he, like, fell back on the bed like, "Whoa, infinite." Like, he kinda grasped infinite. And I think, we are infinite. We are so much more than just the sum total of what we've got here. So can can we, if we're dreaming about saving children, who's to say we aren't? Who's to say that there wasn't some parallel plane version of Hirachi that wasn't actually saving children? There's been so much proof and of stranger things than this. So I think it's every dream is helping us to, um, I don't know, it's always a gift, and I always bring it back to something very simple. How is this I'm saving the many different children aspect of myself? I think every part of our dream is an aspect of ourself, and this is a big hack towards breaking down what the symbolism means. Timothy, you said earlier to not discriminate about what our dream said. Like, you set the intention, I want to, let my dreams help me with whatever it is, and then don't push away if the dream seems strange or if it's not exactly on the nose to what you wanted. Stay open, stay curious, and consider that whatever that dream is, it's exactly custom tailored for you once you dissect it, once you really, really look at it. So, but I think everybody in our dream is an aspect of ourselves. If we're saving other beings, then it also comes back to ourselves. So, Annie Freedom says, I tend to ask myself, what would I do if I could do anything as if I was in a lucid dream? Since I love seeing creative art in dreams, I'd go to art galleries as I would in real life. Exactly. It's always good to have a plan of where you're going to go when you get lucid. And Natalie said, yes, she felt 100% like she'd won. So let's talk about, just as because we only have 15 minutes here, and I still want to take a little time to give people a meditation. Before we get into a few more tips, I want to make sure everybody knows that Timothy's channel on YouTube, you can just put a little in the search bar, just Timothy Schultz, and you'll go right to his amazing show, Lottery, Dreams, and Fortune. And you've got so many great shows, and it's great content that you go deep, you go into their stories, and I know some people that watch your show because they've reached out to me because I've been on your show, and they say that they watch your show. Here's a really great hack. Write this down. Listen to Timothy's show as you go to sleep, because you're going to be thinking about lottery. You're going to be thinking about even the metaphor of the lottery, which is coming into great wealth as it relates to your love life or your health or whatever areas of your life that you're really wanting. So it's a great show to watch and listen to. So I want you to know that I'm offering a great gift to you because it's the holidays right now, and I want to spread the wealth and let as many people know that there's a Dreamafesting live course that's coming up in the early part of January, and I'm offering a $300 discount on that if you sign up for the course today. It's normally $1,200 for a 12-week course, which is very, I mean, I could charge way more. The participants that were in the course that just completed said, oh, they would have paid twice as much, 3 times as much. So it's normally 1,200, but it's only 888. So I guess it's not exactly a $300 discount. But it's it's quite a discount. 888. I just thought I like those numbers. And because I said 300, if you really want 300, I'll give that money back to you. And I'm giving Timothy a cut of that as well if anybody signs up through his network, to thank him for joining me today and to help support his great work. So go to my website. If you just go to kellysullivanwalden.com, or if that's too hard to spell, I had the strangest dream.com, and there's a big banner on the homepage for Dreamafesting Live. If you click on that, there is a banner, and I will put it in the comments here in just a moment. But if you purchase it in the next 24 hours, you'll get a very big gift and a big discount. And Dreamafesting Live is where you focus in on a particular goal that is very meaningful to you. I call it your soul goal. And we apply all of these manifestation techniques, dream techniques, and soul techniques so that you truly are embodying it and you become this homing beacon for those things to gravitate to you, to magnetize to you. So I'll put that in the link in just a moment. Timothy, while I'm doing that, tell our viewers and listeners what you're up to and anything else they should know before we give them some final tips and tricks for dreamifesting.
Sure. What what am I up to besides having this great opportunity to speak with you again? It was always so much fun. I would say I interview quite a few lottery winners, and I just interviewed someone this morning that won another lottery prize that really strongly believes in manifestation. And not all of the people I meet and interview, but quite a few of them do. Some people that have won hundreds of millions, and some people that have won thousands, and everything in between. And other people that have dreamt about it as well before it's happened. So that's kind of what I'm doing, and also interviewing some experts with metaphysical stuff, intuition. Kelly, who's very much an expert with dreams, but also scientists and that sort of thing. So that's what I'm up to. That's what I'm passionate about, and that's what I'm doing on my YouTube channel at Timothy Schultz. And for those people that are already supporters and fans of the channel, thank you so much, and thanks for being here today too.
Awesome. Okay, so I just want to invite you all. We're going to do a little dream incubation meditation because wherever you are in the world, at some point, you're going to be falling asleep. So, this is something that we can all do. And, Timothy, if there's anything you want to add at the end, I'll invite you to do that. But in the meantime, I want to invite everyone, if you can, if you're not operating heavy machinery, go ahead and close your eyes for a moment and just take a big, deep breath and release and let go of any noise, any busyness in the mind, any feeling of lack or limitation or fear. Imagine that you could just unplug from all of that static, kind of in the same way when you do a reboot or a restart on your computer, you just turn it all off. So imagine that you could just reset yourself and let everything go. And let's just dedicate releasing to every exhale so that you just keep letting go, because you don't really have to teach the sun how to shine. You just have to release the clouds from blocking its rays. So just let go, let go, let go. And with these new breaths, I want you to just call in your connection to the sunlight of the spirit, that power and that presence that orchestrates this entire universe, that love intelligence that is closer to you than your breathing, nearer to you than your arms and feet. And just get the sense that you are not on the outside looking in, but you are at the center of it all. You are ageless. You are timeless. You are infinite. At your core, you are healthy. You are wealthy. So now, from this place of absolute fullness, this is the truth of who you are. I want you to imagine something that you have been wanting in your waking state. I want you to imagine one of those things that is always on that list. Like, God, I just really want to win the lottery, or I want to win the lottery in love, or I want to mend a certain relationship, or I want to feel healthier and more vitality in my body temple. I want to have a house. I want to, whatever that is, whatever that next thing is for you, you know what it is. So just feel your way into it and imagine that you are time shifting. We are now in the future, and you're in that place, in that time, or that thing that you desire, that event or that person or that situation. So imagine that you're already there, and let yourself just sink into how wonderful it feels. So allow yourself to envision what you notice around you that you might not have noticed before. So what do you notice visually around you? What do you hear? It might be the sounds of a loved one. It might be excitement. It might be joy. It might be you won. It might be I love you. It might be you're healed. It might be here's the keys. What do you hear? It might be just the sounds of the ocean rolling in. What do you smell? What do you smell when you're having this thing that you desire, when you're in the midst of it? Notice a fragrance if you can. It might be chocolate chip cookies. It might be some kind of beautiful night blooming jasmine. It might be your favorite food. It might be your loved one's perfume or cologne. What do you smell? What do you taste? Allow yourself to have a particular taste on your tongue. And let's go back to the feeling. What is that feeling, that in your body feeling? It might be joy. It might be excitement. It might be fulfillment. So let's take a ride on that feeling and let's go deeper. So if you're fulfilled or whatever that is, if you can write that feeling down, confident, powerful, successful, joyous, generous, happy, grateful, relieved. So now go deeper. If you have that already, then what? Then what does that lead you to? What's the next thing? For some, it might lead you to greater creativity, might lead you to feeling such freedom and such spaciousness that you feel at liberty to expand your spirituality, to become an even greater vessel for your higher power, whatever that might be, to maybe write your book or to help somebody else fulfill their dream or to be of service to people around the world that need help or in your own backyard that need help. And now go one step deeper. If you're doing that, if you're doing whatever that second layer is, what does that give rise to? So think of one thing that is on your second layer: service, generosity, spaciousness, spirituality. And if you have that, breathe that in. Now go one layer deeper. What does that allow you to access? For some of you, it might be like, wow, I don't know. If I had all of that, it's kind of blank. I don't know. Maybe it leads you to the next frontier of your spirituality. Maybe it takes you beyond the edge of your own known universe. Maybe it allows you to be more of the human 2.0 that you came here to be, not somebody who spends all their time worried about how they're going to make their ends meet or how they're going to get along with the people in their life. But those things are handled. What can you create now? What can you co-create? So see if you can touch some of the edge of that next place. Take a breath here. And now know that as you're approaching dream time, you're about to go to sleep and you're about to dream. When you do dream, whenever that is, it's as if you're handing over this golden baton from your relative conscious mind to your subconscious dreaming mind. As if to say, I trust you. Like Timothy Schultz said earlier, just trust what the dreams will come up with, what it might lead you to, what it might bring you to. Let yourself go on that ride. And now let go, completely let go. You don't have to focus on anything. You don't have to keep doing anything. You get to just free float. And when you awaken in the morning, immediately before you do anything else, write your dream down, draw a picture of it, speak it into your phone, take note of it, and do the thing that Timothy talked about where you ask not just what was the dream, but what did it mean to you while you were in it? And then follow that with, and how might that be a clue, a next step toward what you can do in the physical universe? How might this be a next step that you will take upon awakening in your waking life? So breathe all of that in and give so much thanks. And I'm just going to open it up to Timothy. Timothy, what else might they do at this point in this meditation before they actually completely go to sleep? What might you throw in there? You're muted. Oh, there you are.
Muted. Yeah.
Yes, we need to
Well,
hear you.
I would unmute myself. What? Well, what else would I do? I mean, I would. That's pretty deep right there. I really enjoyed how you were speaking about feeling, living in the end result, and then going deeper than that and feeling how it impacts all these other things, because then you're putting more meaning into it in the subconscious. And I would, I don't know what else I would add to that, honestly. I ask and open and very much relax and receive, and then make sure you write it down, the meaning. I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah, Very good. That and asking for the meaning aspect, and then take an action.
Mhm.
Take some kind of action. It could just be calling somebody, telling them about it, or it could be going to your local convenience store, buying a ticket without any strings attached, without any attachment, just showing the universe, like, you take 10 steps towards me, I'll take at least one step towards you. I'm going to show up, I'll do something. And you don't, and you might wait. I mean, Timothy, you had your dream 3 months before you actually won? The first time you had that dream?
Yeah, it was right around 3 months, right about 3 months, but I've had dreams about things, like, literally that happen the next day, or sometimes it's not always 3 months, but it can be. For some people, it can be years, and for some people, it's literally the next day, so
Exactly. So, as we wrap up, is there anything else that you want people to know? I mean, you've shared a lot. You share a lot on your show, and you've been a guest on other shows like mine and many others. But is there anything else that you think would be helpful to people that are really wanting to dream a fest, really wanting to win the lottery in all these different areas of their life? Why not? What is there anything else that you would like them to know or hear about what you did or what you think about or what your process is?
well, just don't give up on your dreams, whatever they are. I mean, we're using the word dreams, but whatever your goals are, what you want to achieve, don't give up on that. And you don't need to win the lottery to achieve your dreams, nor to be happy. And almost everyone that has ever achieved their dreams has not won the lottery.
Right.
So, but you can win the lottery. That's completely possible. So don't let someone tell you that that's not possible, because it is. But if you play, you have to play responsibly. And I
Yes.
always believed, with the lottery and with everything else, that I do everything I can that's in my power, and put myself out there, and I pray and I believe and I take action steps. But I also trust in the universe that things will happen in divine timing. For whatever is supposed to happen, it will happen how it's supposed to. That's what I believe. And I just have to, if something negative happens, I try to pivot and use that, turn that into something positive. So that's what I personally do. But I would just say, don't give up on your dreams. Anything is possible. And I'm passionate about that. It's very true.
Timothy Schultz, I'm so grateful that you joined me tonight. I always get such a boost being around you. I feel like you're a good luck charm. You for all good things. I mean, you're just a wonderful human, and you've taken your wealth, and I feel like you're multiplying it. You're not hiding it under a bushel. You're not that people have to share everything, but I mean, you share your wisdom, you share your platform. You're doing really great stuff with what you've been given. And I always think that there's that biblical saying, to the one who much has been given, much is expected. And I think you're doing something with it. You're doing all the right things. So you're a great role model for this. And I just want to invite everyone, if you're moved by the notion of dreamifesting, letting your dreams do the heavy lifting of the manifesting that you want, the dreams that you have in your waking state. Your dreams are your subconscious mind's way of expressing, and that represents 88% of your mind's power, whereas our conscious mind is just kind of a flimsy little 12% at best. And when we pay attention to the wisdom of our dreams, whether the dreams are blissful or difficult or very clear or really hard to understand, either way, they're always a gift, sometimes wrapped in very beautiful wrapping and sometimes not wrapped at all, sometimes kind of funky, but just like Dr. Frederick Banting and some of the dreams I talked about at the top of this hour, some of those dreams that end up becoming those great lottery winning, great contribution dreams start off a little funky. So don't discriminate against them. Every dream comes to you in the service of your health, your healing, your wholeness. This universe is on your side. So if you really want to do yourself a solid, You'll watch Timothy's show, Lottery, Dreams, and Fortune, as you go to sleep. You'll sign up for Dreamafesting and get a great big discount, $888. And if you really want the $300 discount, you can send me an email and say, I want the extra discount, Kelly. I will let you do that. You can just email me at kelly@kellysullivanwalden.com or go to the link kellysullivanwalden.com and click on Dreamafesting. And I'll see you in January. It's going to be a great new year. Timothy, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you everyone for chatting in and joining us. Timothy, you rock. I wish you the happiest of holidays
Oh,
and may you
oh,
multiply your blessings.
you as well. Thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate it. And it's always great to speak with you. I love what you're doing. And I've never personally sat there with my eyes closed and listened to your voice before. Your voice is incredible. I was just like, wow, just
Thank
listening to
you.
you. So, yeah, but
Oh,
thank you. Thank you so much for having me on here. This was a lot of fun. And I hope some people found this helpful. I did. And I love speaking about this. So thank you.
thank you so much. To be continued. We're just getting warmed up. We're just getting started. Sweet dreams, everybody. Bye.